I am Rijziena, and this is Behind the Culture.
To my island, Statia, the hidden gem of the Caribbean.
Can you start by telling us a little about yourself and your journey so far?
I am Rijziena Hooker. I was born here on St. Eustatius. I love to make souvenirs. I like to get creative. I recently got into planting, and it's something that I enjoy very much. I am an educator. I love to read. And another hobby that I just recently got into is cooking. So that's pretty much it. I love all things education and definitely love all things station.
What inspired you to become a teacher, and what has your experience been like teaching at the GBP school? Both the challenges and the rewards.
This kind of started back in GBP. When I attended GBP, I won't say what year. I didn't always know that I wanted to be in education. I was very good at bookkeeping, so I thought maybe my career might take me into finance. But I remember my dad had built me a blackboard, and I always remember having the little chairs there and just writing a bunch of things on the board, and I liked the feel of that. I had great teachers that also inspired me till this day. And then I had an experience in GBP where I tutored a classmate, and that is where I got the feel for education. So I quickly changed my mind and I ventured into education, and I haven't looked back since. What is it like teaching at GBP? It is a wonderful experience, but it has its challenges. But I am a proud station, and it is one of my greatest honors to be teaching at the school that I attended. And the challenges is pretty much, of course, you have the student, everybody knows you. So sometimes when you have to discipline a student and you have a parent that you have to encounter, especially if it's a family member, it could be a bit intimidating. But I have navigated those challenges, and I can say that my journey so far has been amazing. One of the most important lessons that I've learned is how to really connect with the students, and the students is who taught me that. When I started in 2014, I was very militant in my approach. It had to be my way because that's the approach that I saw when I was growing up. But then I quickly learned through some of my more challenging students, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to have a more democratic approach, and that has worked well for me. So I do enjoy my job with all the highs and the lows, but I am proud to say I have more high than low, and I absolutely love my job and I love the school.
Alongside education, you've built a strong name in creating Statia souvenirs and design. What sparked that passion, and how did you get started?
Literally started as a hobby. So when I got back home and I started working as a new teacher, I didn't have a lot of hours. I actually started at the GVP part-time. So I had earlier days than now. And I remember I was lying down on my couch, I was watching a YouTube video, and this video came up about how to make a keychain. So I was like, oh, I could do that. So I did that, and I had made a few keychains for some family members. And then I said, I wonder what the Statia flag would look like. So then I started doing that, and then I would give it to some of my close friends, and I got some amazing feedback. But what sparked that interest was just my love for Statia. I had always seen, the I love Statia keychains, and anywhere you travel, you would see those types of keychains, but I wanted to be a bit different. I didn't start designing right away. I just started with, the generic things like the flag, I love Statia, but I wanted to be different. And then, my brother would always critique the type of quality that I was putting out. And he said, Rijziena, maybe you should look into sublimation. So I did that. And in 2017, I started that, printing cups and different things. And then I still wasn't too happy with what I was producing because I said, something was missing. And I got massive support from the entire island. Everyone loved the idea of it. And then in 2017, I started printing cups, and I would look to educate persons through my souvenirs. So what I would do, I would print on the cup, and then I would put like a little Statia nugget. For example, how did Statia get its name? And at that time, I was working very closely with Walter Hellebrandt. And then I started designing in 2022, and I haven't stopped since. My designs, I wanted them to be unique because I am of the opinion, people always say that Statia is small, and when they say that, it is true, but I always get the impression that they think that quality can't be produced from Statia, and I wanted to prove that. I wanted to show that just because we're a small island, it doesn't mean that we're talentless or limitless. So I wanted to show that, and that is what really is the drive behind Rice Statia.
You're also a singer with a beautiful voice. How does music play a role in your life and your connection to Statia's culture?
Oh, that's a big question. So I haven't sung in forever. And little do you know, I don't particularly like doing it too much because I get massive anxiety when I go up there. But I have been doing it a long time, growing up in the Seventh-day Adventist church, coming from two families that have singers. I would say that it keeps me connected. I always enjoy the music that the Rebels band produce and all of the other bands. I look forward to Carnival to hear the different road march. And while you may not always see me attend these shows, I do have all of the songs on my phone. And from time to time, when I'm working out, I would have them in. So, for example, I have a playlist called Statia Style, and that is where I have a good bit of songs from the bands on my phone. So, and I try to support as much as possible by listening to the music. I was very impressed with the Road March winner of last year. I absolutely love that song. I think it is just, there are no words to describe it. And I always say that Statia has extreme talent where music is concerned. And why I say this is because I don't know if any of the musicians have formal training, but that makes it even more impressive because anyone can go to school and learn to sing, play an instrument. But then when you have that innate ability, that natural ear for music, which I think all of our musicians have it, I think that that's exceptionally something to be proud of. So that is how I stay connected to Statia, by having the music on my phone, listening to it, and supporting our local artists.
What does Statia culture mean to you, and how do you envision its growth and future years ahead?
Statia culture is something that is in my soul. I don't recall getting a lot of Statia history growing up as a child, and it is, as an educator, I think it is important. I want to see more national pride. I want that when stations travel, that they are proud to represent where they are from. I see the growth of this. I don't know if I can describe in words what my vision for Statia is, but what I see is a Statia that is booming, where every entrepreneur on the island has a booming business, supported heavily by all the locals, and that's pretty much it. But for me, the most important thing is our politicians. They are our voice, and I want to see in the future that there is connectivity between the schools, the government, the entrepreneurs, everyone, because Statia is ours. I sometimes think that there's a slight disconnect, but I think if everyone put their egos aside and realize that Statia is ours, that it can really move forward. I also want to see our local become more hungry for opportunities here. Do not settle. Become upset when they realize that certain opportunities are not privileged to them, and voice their opinions. Too many times we see things in the community that is happening and we don't complain. We're not a culture that complains. And when I say complain, I'm not just talking about Facebook or social media. I'm talking about written complaints on black and white. There are a lot of things that is happening, and I think sometimes because Statia is smaller, that is accepted or it is acceptable. It is not acceptable by any means. If it is making your livelihood uncomfortable, you are allowed to say something about it without guilt. And it is my hope that in the future, the government would understand and realize and invite persons to have more say in the development of their community.
It is Women's Day today. And in the spirit of that, I would like to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about the legacy? And I use the word legacy because that is exactly what it is. The pharmacy and your family and that legacy. Can you tell us about it?
The most I can say is that I remember coming home from college for vacation, summer vacation, and my dad was super excited. He was like a kid in a candy store. And he sat me down on the bed and he said, Rijziena, your mom is going on a little adventure. So I was like, okay. And I said, what is this adventure? And he said, she is going to be a shareholder in the pharmacy. So I was like, oh, wow. My mom worked in the hospital for 30 plus years, and she worked in the pharmacy. And the opportunity arose for her to, I guess, invest. And the pharmacy at that time was managed by the St. Martin Pharmacy, if I'm not mistaken, by a lady by the name of Mercedes. I hope I got the name right. and they were getting ready to close down, and the opportunity arose, and I guess my mom became aware of it, and so she called in some of my other aunts, another family member, and another close friend, and they all invested. And now we have the Golden Rock Pharmacy, which has been established for quite a while. I'm so ashamed that I don't even know the years, but that's okay. And the majority of the shareholders are women. So that was a powerful example for me to realize that as a woman, we are limitless. There is nothing that we cannot do. There are many more examples, but that for me was the pinnacle of examples. So that's a little bit about that and how that came about. And I'm very proud that they had the vision to take on this very gigantic responsibility. But I'm even more proud that they have been managing this for so many years, and they have been doing exceptionally well. And we have an amazing pharmacy.
You spoke about legacies in the previous question, but now we're going to the legacy because your family has been doing amazing things. And I think one of the things that is missing for us as a community is representation, giving our local people their jacket, giving our local jacks their jacket. So with this one, we also know as a community that your family is also responsible for Chapel Peace. And if I'm not mistaken, that's one of your aunts. Yes. Again, it's Women's Month, Women's Day. So if you could tell us just a little bit about that.
So what I know is that where the Chapel Peace Recreational Center is located, I think was the childhood home of my mom. I do believe there was another place before they relocated, but I have to get that information. My Aunt Hilda, she is basically the founder of the Chapel Peace Recreational Center. She is a nurse by vocation, and she lived in Canada for many years before returning home. And upon returning home, I think she realized that, hey, of course you have the auxiliary home, but not every senior citizen needs to be in the auxiliary home. So she realized that there was a need for something where seniors could engage in recreation for a certain amount of hours throughout the day. And so she had that vision, she got that started, wrote her projects, submitted it to government, and here we are some years later. It is a wonderful initiative. I have visited Chapel Peace on many occasions, and you do see the senior citizens sitting down, they're having their devotions, they're singing, they're doing their arts and craft, they get a warm meal, and they also distribute meals to other persons in the community. So this is just an amazing opportunity, and I'm very proud of the women in my family for being that type of example of women empowerment, and I'm very proud to be a part of it, and it is my sincere hope and it is my goal to continue that legacy because the path have already been paved, and it is just something that I am exceptionally proud of.
Now for this question, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. Jesus. I could see your shirt, your shirts. Can you tell us a little bit about your shirts?
Okay, so this is one of my first designs. And remember I said that I like all things unique and creative. So this is one of my first designs when I started in 2022. And I wanted to have like a I love Statia type of design, but not the cliche I love Statia. So this design was birthed in 2022, and it became, I have it on keychains, I have it on cups, I have it on tumblers, bags, because I want that when people come to Statia and they see their designs or they see my designs and what Rijziena has produced, that they realize again, Statia is small, but we are full of talent, we are full of creativity, and we are unique.
We did an interview with Makiba a few months ago, and she spoke about the designs that you made from the fabric, the design that you created. You created a few designs. Can you tell us about that?
Right. So I was the initiator of the Blue Bead cloth. I can't exactly remember. Maybe I need to start documenting these things. I don't exactly remember how that idea came about, but it was, the Blue Bead is a design that I was actually a bit sketchy about. I remember my mom had ordered a set to send for some friends away, and she wanted specifically the blue bead. So I said, Mom, I don't think that the blue bead is gonna look good in that set. She's like, Rijziena, just do it. I said, okay. And it actually became one of my best sellers. And then I said, I can't remember what the event, whether it was Statia Day or whatever. I looked online to look at companies that can do custom printing for cloth, and that's how that idea came about. And so what I did, I ordered about 5 yards of it because I wanted to see what it would look like. And when it came, it was exceptionally beautiful. So I ordered more, I put it out there, and the entire community went wild. To this day, I still have persons asking me for it. Unfortunately, the company that I worked with shut down, and I have not been able to find another company that could provide me that type of quality, because I'm all about quality, and I'm not going to just sell something just for selling its sake. So that is how that came about. The blue bead cloth was originated through me because it's one of our artifacts, and it is something that most persons, when they come to the island, they talk about it, and it's almost like an achievement if you go diving or if you go somewhere and you find a blue bead, you think you struck gold. So for those of us who have not been lucky enough to find an actual blue bead, we can live through the blue bead cloth until we are able to find an actual blue bead. But it is a beautiful cloth. I have seen some amazing designs, and one of my proudest moments is having, I think, one of the politicians in Holland make a kimono from it, and that for me was just amazing. Also, our governor, she represented the island at one of the meetings in Holland. I don't recall what meeting it was, and she was also wearing a dress she made from the blue bead cloth. And it is proud because that originated here on Little Statia.
Do you have any advice for any young person watching this interview now and who say, boy, I would like to be like Rijziena when I grow up?
I would simply say, do not let your fears consume you. Many persons look at me and they say, everyone calls me Rai. Rai, you have a lot going for yourself. But I sometimes doubt if this would work, how people would respond to it, if they would like it. Just do it. Do not be afraid to fail, because you will be living the rest of your life wondering what if, and that in and of itself is a failure. If you have an idea and you believe it is something that can work, go with it, run with it, believe in it, because at the end of the day, no one is going to believe in your vision more than you. Surround yourself with people who speak positively to you. Be open to constructive criticism. And I say this confidently, the criticism needs to be constructive. Construction means to build something. So if you cannot build off of that criticism, then it's not constructive. It's just negative noise, and you don't need that. Listen to your intuition, because there is a voice that guides you, and be confident in your goals. Be confident in who you are. Just be open to everyone. Listen to your clients. Listen to those who are around you, and surround yourself with like-minded people. From my heart to yours, happy International Women's Day to all of our beautiful women.